All Elite Wrestling just had their Eliminator Tournament, at least the Japanese side, and we saw a lot of really good wrestling over there. However, I feel like they kind of booked this tournament in a very weird manner, but I'll talk about that a bit later. NXT just had what I believe is one of their best takeovers to date with NXT Takeover Vengeance, and I'll break down that card for you guys. We'll also be talking about KENTA on AEW Dynamite last week, Juice Robinson and David Finlay of New Japan Pro Wrestling heading to Impact Wrestling, and then finally New Japan Pro Wrestling releasing their Castle Attack card at the end of the month, and we'll be talking about what's going on there. This is the 34th edition of the Chill Spill Podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Mask, aka Tyler Kuhn Williams, aka Tyler Suplex, aka the one who lived. And welcome back to another edition, the 34th edition of the Chill Spill Podcast. And that is pill spelled with an S, but it is silent. Much like I was after watching this AEW Eliminator Tournament on the Japanese side. I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. It goes both ways. I think it's both a good thing and I don't want to say a bad thing, because I don't think there was anything bad about the show, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like I try not to be I try not to be one of those wrestling fans that's like, everything must be done my way or it's not great. I try not to be one of those fans, and I try to go with the flow more often than not. But like, when you look at a card and like literally everybody you wanted to win loses, you're just kind of like, really? Fucking really? And it's not anybody that did. You know what? We'll talk about it first, since I'm already on the topic of it. But once again, guys, this is the episode of Chill Podcast. Real quickly, on Mason Goldberg on patreon.com. If you listen to this, what's up, Mason Goldberg? Big shout out to Mason Goldberg, NJPW Fan 10, and Liam Version 1. They are my Patreon backers. They have been for quite a while now. They are my proud supporters. Love you guys as always. Also, if you guys have not already, please look into my Patreon, patreon.com/TylerMask. That's where early episodes of the Chill Spill Podcast go up. Exclusive episodes and shows and reviews go up on that channel. NJPW reviews that are not the latest ones I did on my YouTube channel, and other such to like. One thing I wanted to address here is that on Patreon, I said, like, I think probably like several months ago, that I was going to basically try my hand at doing the Chill Spill Podcast like consistently, and I was going to try and go for the Undertaker's undefeated streak, and I was going to go and break it, because Undertaker's undefeated streak was like what, 21-0, and I was basically going to go to like 21 episodes or whatnot. And I believe we passed that, because when I first started doing the Chill Spill Podcast on a weekly basis, it was episode number 17 on October 21st. We're about to be, when this goes up, it'll be February the 16th, which is 5 days off. So November, December, January, February. That's 4 months. 4 times 4, that's 16. Okay, so I guess that's not 21 weeks yet. We're at week number 16. We're at week number 16. I'm pretty, well, no, if I do the math correctly, 17, we're on 34 now, 13, yeah, right, okay, I'm right, it is 16. Well, no, this would be 17. So we're 4 weeks away from tying the Undertaker streak, and then 5 weeks away from coming to a streak. So what's going to be that episode in 5 weeks? Let's see, let me do the math here. So, 1, 2, I'm doing this live, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically, I believe March 17th, I think, which is my mother's birthday, that's going to be the episode when we tie the Undertaker streak. And then the 24th of March, which I believe is 2 weeks before WrestleMania, or the week of? Is that the week before or the week of? No, that's the 2 weeks before. The week, 2 weeks before WrestleMania will be when we actually break the Undertaker's undefeated streak. So I'm on an undefeated streak. I have not broken a single week of not doing the podcast. I've been consistently doing it every single Wednesday on Patreon, well, Tuesday on Patreon, and Wednesday on YouTube. So kudos to your boy for keeping at it. Now my goal, my mission is to upload all these episodes to Podbean and start uploading consistently to Podbean and Spotify, because that's been my worst enemy, is that I don't get, and I think that's one of my my nitpicks, just like as a person in general, is that like I don't always fully complete what I set out. Like if I say, hey, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this, I'll do most of it and then like forget to do the other part, and then it just kind of fucks everything up. I mean, it doesn't fuck everything up, but like I probably could be doing so much better had I been uploading these episodes to Podbean as well, but I just fucking don't. And it's like I need to upload all these episodes to Podbean and then to Spotify, and then boom, just keep on doing it on YouTube, and then boom, now I have 3 different platforms uploading on instead of just one platform on YouTube, which fucked me over in the past. But that's a whole personal thing, you know. Sometimes I gotta, you know, reveal what's behind the curtains. It's one of my big issues that I have with myself personally, not even just on YouTube or anything. But that's one of the things I'm trying to do this year. Also, big announcement. I guess it's not that big, but it's big to me. I actually went and created a TikTok. So, I've been wanting to create a TikTok for like a long time. But you know, I didn't know how big the wrestling community was on TikTok. I didn't know if there was really. And you know what? This is my fault. I didn't do my research. I didn't do thorough research to see if wrestling was big on TikTok. Wrestling does pretty well on TikTok. So I noticed that one of my friends, big shout out to him on TikTok, Alex Vato Loco. I believe his name is AlexVatoloco. Big shout out to that guy. Go follow him on TikTok. He does wrestling TikToks. He showed me yesterday that he does really well on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, well, if you're doing really well on TikTok, I'm gonna fucking join TikTok then, because that means that, and he does wrestling content. So if you guys are into, like, you know, he does like top 5 whatever videos on his TikTok. Like, I think he does really good ones. If you guys are into that, I know I am very capable of being funny. You guys know I could be funny if I want to. So I think that I could do TikTok. I think I could do it. We're gonna fucking do it. So I created a TikTok. The name is Sooplex. Sooplex. Go on TikTok and go fucking follow me. Go subscribe or whatever you do on TikTok. I literally am still very new to this platform, but I'm on it. Go follow it. Go get in before I get in. I'm going to be starting doing videos as early as this coming weekend. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of things I want to do. I want to do like very quick 1-minute reviews of shows, reaction to certain match spots, skits, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be wrestling related. I might throw in some just funny shit just because, but I also think about creating a separate TikTok account just for that. But go follow me on TikTok. It is Sooplex. It's going to be at the top hand corner now. So yeah, TikTok.com/Sooplex, or whatever the user HTTP is. Now back to the AEW Eliminator Tournament, because I went off course there. So AEW just had the Japanese side of the Eliminator Tournament, which emanated from the Ice Ribbon Dojo in Japan. And it was 4 matches. We're going to cover them here. So, on this show, we had the first match, Yuka Sakazaki versus Mei Suruga. Yuka Sakazaki, oh my god. She has the best theme song in all of pro wrestling right now. Actually, that's a lie. She has one of the best, not the best. But whenever I hear a theme song, I get pretty hyped. Mei Suruga, I know she's a student of Emmy, and she's from Gato Move. My friend Dane loves Choco Pro and Gato Move. I don't really watch it, not gonna lie to you guys. Not that I don't like it, I just don't watch it because it doesn't interest me that much. But I was pretty interested to see what she was gonna do, because I have never seen her wrestle up until this point. I thought the match was pretty entertaining. A lot of like haha hee hee kind of comedy in this match. You know, they were kind of do spots where like I feel like this is one of those matches, and I said this much because I was watching this with my friends. I was watching this like in a call with like all my friends who were watching this show. And I said as much during that. I said I wouldn't have started this show off with this match, because it's like, if this is, and I firmly believe many people who watch this show probably didn't know who like more than half of the women were. Like, you know, I knew who Yuka was, I knew who Emmy was, I knew who Mei was, I knew who Maki was, I know who Ashikong was. Couldn't tell you anything about Rin, couldn't tell you anything about Okada. I couldn't tell you anything about Veni. Like, only half the women I knew. But it's like everyone else, new to me. So I know for most people watching this, they were mostly new to almost everybody on this damn show. So you want to kind of showcase your best cards first, like, start off the match hot, like set the tone, and then you want to bring it down with that little comedy stuff. Cool. But I feel like starting off with it may have sent the wrong message to some people. Now, I did not watch this show live when it happened because I was at work. I did catch the playback. I didn't even look at the live chat for it. So I didn't know what the reception was for this match. But I feel like for people who may be expecting the hard-hitting nature of starter matches or whatnot, or just Joshi matches or women's wrestling in general, if they were looking for that here, yeah, you got it, like, towards the end of the match, but, like, the beginning of it was a lot of comedy, and I feel like it probably, like, some people would have got turned off by that. I didn't get turned off by it, but I could easily see how some people would get turned off by this match. Like, if I showed this to a non-wrestling fan, he probably would have just walked away, like, bro, you watch this? You watched it? This is what you enjoy? But, to each their own. Like I said, I thought it was a fun match. Yuka Sakazaki did end up winning the match with a springboard 450 onto May. She does one of the best springboard 450s there is. And she got the pin. She advanced to the quarterfinal round. Okay, so I don't think it was ever in doubt that Yuka would win. I wanted May to win. Like, I wanted her to win only because she's a new face and I don't know who she is. I know who she is, but I didn't see her wrestle before. And, I feel like she probably could be some, like, if they were able to go to America, and if they wanted to, like, push somebody in the crowd, I feel like May would get over. I get the sense that her bubbly personality, she has the cutest smile, by the way, her bubbly personality, or, like, just everything about her sends me vibes of, like, early stage Bayley. I get early stage Bayley from Mai Saruga. So I'm like, all right, if they wanted to give her the win here over Yuka, who I don't want to say it's an established name in AEW, but who was a name in AEW, that'd be a good win for her. But Yuka won, and I'm not mad at it because once again, Yuka was in AEW before. People know the name, and Yuka's great. Like, Yuka is a great wrestler, so I'm happy with the result. I would have preferred May, but yeah, I'm happy with the result. So then we get into the next match, Veni versus Emmy Sakura. First thing I noticed in here, which I didn't really notice until after the fact, but Veni came out and she was wearing this kimono. And when I saw this picture on Twitter, I almost it tugged at my heartstrings. It was a similar kimono. I don't know if it was the exact same kimono, but it was a similar robe to the one that Hana Kimura would wear when she was in Oedo Tai in Stardom. So I thought that was a really nice homage from Veni. Veni in this match. Okay, before I mention this, I didn't know this until like someone mentioned. I think AEW mentioned it on their bracketology. Tony Schiavone mentioned it, but Veni is transgender. She, I believe, may have been born a male and then had the surgery done, and now she's a female. Which all power to her. I have absolutely no issues with that. I represent the LGBT community all day, every day. But honestly, like, if you had looked at Veni and no one would have told you she had work done, I would have never known. Like, I'll be honest, I would have never known if Tony Schiavone did not say anything. And okay, people have different opinions on this kind of things, and I'll throw my own 2 cents out there. You guys could comment on if you agree or not. Kind of curious about where it is. Just don't get too political in the chat. With Veni being because Nyla Rose, she's transgender as well. She was born a male. She made the transition over to being a female. Like I said, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that in my opinion at all. But I feel like I didn't need to know she was transgender. Like, that's how I feel about the situation. It's like, I don't feel like she needed to hide it, or AEW really needed to hide it. But like, if they never mentioned it and I found out, I'd have been like, I wouldn't have feel like I was lied to or anything. I guess maybe it was just that level of transparency they wanted to keep, and that's why they mentioned it. But I was just looking at her, and I'm like, I don't feel like I would have had anything taken away or added by knowing she was trans. Like, I feel the same way with Nyla Rose when I first saw her. Like, I felt the same way when I found out Nyla Rose was transgender. It was like, I feel like I didn't need to know that. Like, I would have supported her and liked her the same way if I didn't know that, as opposed to me knowing that now. I mean, not opposed, because that means I don't like it. But no, obviously, I don't. I care, and I appreciate it, and I like it. But I feel like sometimes it would have just been. It would have been okay if I didn't know that. And it sounds so ignorant coming out of my mouth, and I completely don't mean it for it to sound ignorant at all. I just feel like sometimes it can be pushed as they're trying to make an agenda out of it. Oh, this is the first transgender, because that's what they were trying to make it seem like when Nyla Rose got signed, is that, oh, this is the first transgender wrestler in AEW, the first mainstream transgender wrestler. It's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but it's not the agenda I think we should be pushing. It's not the vibe we should be going for, at least. Let Nyla Rose thrive because she's Nyla Rose, not because Nyla Rose used to be a man. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. But let me get off that topic because, once again, I'm not trying to get too political here. Veni versus Emmy Sakura. I thought this was the best match on the show. I think it went like maybe slightly too long, but I enjoyed it overall. Emmy Sakura is great at everything she does. I said this in my chat as well, and I was talking to my guy friends watching the show, that people don't like to admit this, but Emmy Sakura was, in my opinion, one of the best parts about AEW in the very early stage of Dynamite. Like when Dynamite first started and Riho was the champion and Emmy and Riho were feuding, Emmy Sakura was out there putting on some of the best performances of the night with Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander and Shanna and Rhea. Like, she was putting on like some of the best performances, but I don't know if it was their gimmick. I don't know if it was because because it's like back then, AEW actually featured their women a lot better. Like, it's not like, I'm not going to pretend like AEW were like, main eventing their shows, women's matches or anything, but like their women's division was a little bit better treated than it is today, back in 2019. But Emmy was like, gimmick wise, wrestling wise, in ring, like she was really good, and I enjoyed that. But I guess it was all the other things going on about AEW that it just kind of made me like, whatever. But now looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, damn, if Emmy would have beat Riho at not Revolution, what's it called, Full Gear in 2019, I wouldn't have been too disappointed in that. I mean, I feel like they probably didn't, because obviously Emmy runs Choco Pro and fucking Stardom and founded Ice. Like, she's busy in Japan, so she's not going to be the AEW Women's Champion. I mean, you can make an argument that Riho as Women's Champion wasn't too effective because she wasn't in AEW for like months at a time at one point. Like, she literally beat Emmy, and then she disappeared, and then we didn't see her again for like months, and then she lost the title to Nyla Rose, and then that was kind of it. The women's division is just a whole mess right now, but, well, yeah. This tournament is supposed to turn it around. Supposed to, at least. Veni incorporated a lot of her high-flying aspects in with some kicks, and that was pretty nice. She was hitting some moonsaults, some jumping, shooting star presses. I kind of laughed that when I saw the jumping, shooting star press. I'm like, she's mocking, she's ripping off of Saya Kamatani. Like, because I can't speak, but we're only doing one take because I gotta go to work soon. Whenever I see Saya Kamatani doing her high-flying moves, I like to always pretend she's the most innovative person in the entire universe. Like, nobody out there is doing moves like Saya Kamatani. And when Veni's out here doing it, I'm like, fucking Veni's ripping off of Saya. Isn't it sad to see? I mean, I don't know who started wrestling first. I'm going to say it was Veni wrestling first, but Saya Kamatani's out here killing the game once again. You would think that with Veni having all these moves in here and, everything that was building up to, that she would get the win, but it was Emmy Sakura getting the win with her Tiger Driver. She making it on to the next round. And Emmy Sakura, being a former AEW talent, and I keep on saying former as if like she's not signed anymore, but like no, Emmy and Yuka very much do still work with AEW. We just haven't seen them in such a long time because of COVID. And if we never got this tournament, we guarantee would still not have seen them. But it's like Emmy had her time and Yuka had her time. I would have preferred to see, because it's not like we couldn't have had them go to the next round and have them continue on, unless contractually they couldn't. I don't know what the ramifications that would be exactly, but I would prefer Veni won this match. Emmy did win, like I said, not disappointed, but I'm like, all right, would prefer Veni. But let's see what happens in the next match. So the next match we have Maki Ito, King of Simps, Queen of Simps, I should say, the deity of shit, as she calls herself, versus Kazuchika Okada and Dre. Oh, no, let me not say that. Ryu Mizunami. Ryo Mizunami is a dead ringer for Okada. Dead ringer for Okada. I mean, this woman, from the jacket to the hair, she even had the fucking Times New Roman, not the Times New Roman, what is it called? Like that, it might be Times New Roman, But like she even had that font that Okada has on his gear on her gear. Like she was dead ass Okada in the flesh. She was just slightly bigger in frame, and that was it. I mean, and moveset too. But she reminds me of like if Okada became like his gimmick was that she was a Gen Z millennial. That would be Okada. He would be Ryo Mizunami because she came out with the glasses, you know, kind of doing some. She had a lot of charisma. I think Maki Ito beat her in that department of like who was the most charismatic, but they both exuded a lot of charisma. They both had a lot of personality to show, and this was a very fun match as well. I enjoyed it for the most part. I think that Maki Ito definitely has a big future. She was the most over in this tournament. Now, you can't really say the most over when there's no audience. But like on Twitter, on social media, everybody was talking about how excited they were to see Maki Ito. I was talking about it. Your favorite YouTuber was talking about it. Your favorite Twitter handle was talking about it. Everybody loves them some Maki Ito. So one would expect AEW would put over the person who is the most over, Maki Ito. Except they didn't. Ryo Mizunami gets Maki down with her. Dude, this is a really cool submission. It's like, you guys know that submission Edge does where he kind of clutches your neck and your arm together. It's a whole MMA submission, and I love it. But Edge does it. Well, Ryo does this, but she gets you on the mat, and she rolls around with you, and it kind of like takes you out of it with your stamina because you're using up a lot of it. She's rolling you on your face and whatnot. It's really cool. I like the finish a lot. But Maki taps on. I'm like, huh? Huh? Like, Ryo gets the pin, and it's like, I don't dislike Ryo. I don't dislike her, but I'm like, Maki's the one who people want to see win. It's like she gets knocked out in round 1? Really? It's like, okay, so Maki loses, fucking Veni loses, and May loses. Like, all these women, and Rin, we've seen in AEW before. She was at Double or Nothing 2019. I'm like, okay. All right. This definitely disappointed me a lot. I'm not mad, but it disappointed me because I really want to see Maki move on. Let's get on to the main event. Rin Karukura versus Ashikong. Now, I knew nothing about Rin Karukura because I don't watch Wave. Pro Wrestling Wave. She's the champion over there. From what I heard, she's really good. But like I said, no matches, no entrances, no highlights, nothing. I've seen nothing of her work. Ashikong, she's obviously a legend in not just women's wrestling and Japanese women's wrestling, but just wrestling in general. All the battles she's had with, herself. All the battles she's had with Bull Kano and Manami Toyota and Akira Hokuto. She's had battles with just about everybody under the sun. They had her on AEW for a hot minute at Double or Nothing, and then at Fyter Fest when they teased the match with her and Awesome Kong, but then that went nowhere, and she's been basically off AEW television ever since. Well, she never was on AEW television, but you get the point. And then we have Rin Karukura. So with Ashikong, she's like 50 years old or something like that. She's very up there. She is not young anymore. So in this match, I didn't expect her to go like 80 miles per hour like she used to for her size, but she was kind of slow. Like she wasn't immobile, but she definitely was not like, she wasn't fast. Like Rin Karukura was the young girl. You know, she was the underdog babyface, which we all expected because it's Ashikong. Whenever you're in there with a monster like Ashikong or Awesome Kong, you're gonna be the underdog babyface no matter what, unless you're another big girl. So Rin was in there doing her stuff, and Ashikong, she's doing like lariats and kicks and shit. And it's like, you have respect for these people because they've been in the business for so long. They've been doing these great matches. But then I'm sitting here like, this match, not gonna lie, it's kind of carried by Rin here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be rude, but you know. It's not for me right now. Like it wasn't. Was it the worst match on the show? It was the worst match on the show, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it was the worst match on the show, and it's not an understatement at all. I mean, not an overstatement at all. Rin Karukura, I thought she was really good for what she could do. I feel like if she was in the ring with somebody else, I probably could have seen a lot more of what she can do. Because when you're an underdog babyface against a monster, you're kind of limited because you're selling a lot. You only can do but so many moves that's going to knock your opponent down. You don't really have too much to go off of. You're following a certain formula. So it's like, I feel like I've only got a piece of what Rin could actually do in the ring. Had you put her in there with somebody like Emmy, she probably would have showed out. But we get to the end, and I'm sitting here waiting like, okay, Ashikong is obviously... Because when you're in a tournament of any kind, you always are going to expect the upset win. Somebody's going to get the upset win. And so far, we haven't gotten that in this entire tournament. So I'm like, okay, Rin will be the upset win. Rin's gonna get a crucifix roll up over Ashikong or something, and she's gonna make it onto the next round, and she'll be that babyface comeback people are waiting for. Well, she goes for crucifix. Aja catches her, hits a fall like a Samoa drop, and I'm like, oh boy. So then she's coming back, trying to come back. Basically, she stops her from hitting a suplex. Ashikong hits her with a lariat, goes to the top rope, and hits her with the elbow drop from the top, and gets the pin over Rin. Ashikong make it on to the next round. So I just kind of, like, I'm like, I liked the show. But I felt like I walked away thinking, literally everybody who probably should have made it on lost. Like, everybody who made it on were people who were on AEW before. Ashikong was on Double or Nothing 2019. Ryo Mizunami was on Double or Nothing 2019. We've seen Emmy Sakura on Dynamite before. We've seen Yuka on Dynamite before. So it's literally all AEW women. Like, put it that way. It's literally all AEW women. I'm just sitting here like, we could have made some new star. And I don't want to say new stars because it's like, I don't know if we would have ever seen these women again. So that's why I can't be mad, because it's like, I don't know if I would have ever saw May again. I don't know if I'm going to see Veni again. I don't know if I'm going to see Rin again. I don't know if I'm going to see Maki Ito again. But the fact of the matter is, it's a tournament, and it's like they can still make it on to the semifinal round, even if they're not going to make it to the finals and go all the way to America to face who's going to win the American side. We still could have gotten somebody else going to the final. I was honestly rooting for Maki to go to the finals, but she's gone. So I'm like, okay, if it's not Maki, then May. Maybe. May's gone. Alright, well, maybe fucking Veni. She's new. Veni's gone. Maybe Rin. Rin's gone. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little slight about this tournament. Like, we have Yuka and Emmy, which is gonna be good, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Yuka winning that match, because Emmy's not going on. And then we have Ryo and Aja, which I really don't care to see Ryo versus Aja. Like, Ryo was good, but I wanted to see Maki. And Aja is great, but I wanted to see Rin. So I was like, like, it was good, but kind of sour taste in my mouth coming out of it. But that's just kind of a nitpick of mine. So that was the AEW Eliminator Tournament. Then we get into NXT Takeover Vengeance. This, hands down, had to be the best takeover NXT has done since NXT Takeover New Orleans in 2018, 3 years ago. Listen, you can make an argument for all the takeovers that have happened since then. You can make an argument for Takeover New York in 2019. You can make an argument for Takeover War Games last year. You can make an argument for Takeover Portland last year. You can make an argument for a lot of different takeovers. But this one was bar none, I would say, even above grade. I would say this was an amazing show. This is an amazing show. You only had one match in here that wasn't like great, but everything else on this show, you can make an argument for being a great match. And I'll start off with the first match. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart in the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Women's Tag Team Classic Finals. This was a bomb-ass match to start off the show. And I didn't expect anything less from these women, but they definitely exceeded my expectations. Raquel Gonzalez, she kind of has taken a place as like that monster brute. She's taken a Rhea Ripley role of NXT. She's always throwing people around. She's hard to knock down. You know, she's doing all those cool moves. I think Rhea Ripley is a slightly better wrestler than Raquel, but Raquel's actually really good. Dakota Kai, she works really well as the cowardly heel, even though we know Dakota Kai is capable of wrestling on her own. She's capable of putting on great matches. You know, hiding behind Raquel and really coming in there when it's time to, you know, pick up the win or, you know, do a crazy spot. That's where Dakota serves best, and I feel like we saw a lot of that in this match. Ember and Shotzi came out of this tournament as, like, the flyest fucking people here. Like, Ember and Shotzi, when they were in this tournament, I didn't expect them to make it to the finals. Not gonna lie to you guys, I thought it was gonna be the way in Dakota and Raquel, which would have been a heel versus heel match, but did not expect it to be Ember and Shotzi making it on. But I'm happy they made it on, because we saw a lot of crazy spots, especially because we know Shotzi in here. Shotzi's fucking awesome. Shotzi's like the Darby I hate doing these comparisons, but Sharpie's like Shotzi's like the Darby Allin of the NXT Women's Division, where she does like these death-defying, crazy-ass spots that can basically kill her damn self, but she ends up finding a way to not do it, and it's cool. And Ember Moon, she's always really death-defying in her own right too. One of the craziest spots of this match was when they had Dakota Kai on the outside. So I believe Shotzi had Dakota on the shoulders, and Ember was on the top rope, and they were outside the ring. Ember does this crossbody onto Dakota, who's on the shoulders of Shotzi, doing an electric chair drop. It was basically a doomsday device crossbody. Like, it was so awesome, and it was on the outside of the ring, so it was a much more bigger impact. And before this, one of the crazier spots was Dakota Kai. She sends Ember Moon outside the ring. There's this big platform outside the ring, which it's basically the ramp, and I was not a big fan of that. But she sends Ember outside the ring. Shotzi's inside the ring. So Raquel's getting in the ring. She's stepping in, one leg in. She's ducking her head through. Shotzi runs to the rope, does a springboard crossbody onto Raquel, who's entering the ring, and Raquel sells this like death. I mean, she body splashes her upper body while she was standing. It was fucking crazy. I loved that spot so much. And you'd expect the spot to win the match, but no, Dakota comes in and breaks it up, and they were still going. And this match went at least a good almost 20 minutes, and all the way through, I was entertained. You got to the end. Shotzi is trying for a top rope move onto Dakota. She was trying for a top rope move onto somebody on the outside, but Raquel sends her off into the ring. Dakota's outside the ring on the ramp. Raquel gets her up, military presses her into the ring, basically body splashing Shotzi in the process. This gives Raquel in the ring, gets Shotzi up for this one-handed choke slam, which is a really cool choke slam. She basically holds you by your gut, lifts you up in the air, and just slams you down to the mat. She does that. She gets an assisted pin with Dakota on top of her. Shotzi and Ember sadly do not get the dub here. It goes to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, who are the winners of the 2021 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. You know what? I love it. I love it. Dakota Kai, as I said on my stream before, Dakota Kai has been NXT for so long. She's been there since 2017, 2016, I think 2017. That's 4 years, man. She's been in NXT for 4 years, and like she's won nothing. Not the NXT Women's Championship, not a Dusty Rhodes, not a tournament. She's won nothing the entire time she's been there. So for her to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, that's great for her. It's not a tag team titles or anything, but from what I've been told, this sets them up for a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match later down the line. Now, is it at WrestleMania? Is it at Fastlane? We don't really know. But what I do know is that right now the champions are Shayna and Nia, which would be it's a heel versus heel match. Which, if they want to do that, I mean, I don't know if I don't think a heel versus heel match will work unless they're trying to do. You know what I can see them doing? I can see them doing this if we're not doing Raquel doing that chokeslam onto Nia. Because imagine the sight of seeing Raquel Gonzalez chokeslam Nia Jax. Like, I feel like they would probably do this match only to do that spot. Cool spot it would look, but I don't know if I would do that match solely for that spot. So, who do they get the titles on in preparation? Maybe you get it on Naomi and Lana since they're facing off for the titles at Elimination Chamber this weekend. You could do that, and then maybe have them be transitional champions. I would rather Naomi get a lengthy reign out of it, but Lana's there, so I guess maybe not. Whatever the case may be, I'm hoping that Dakota and Raquel end up getting those titles. That's my hoping. Like I said, I thought this is a really good, even great match. I would go solid 8 out of 10 for this match. We didn't get into the next match. Johnny Gargano versus Kushida for the NXT North American Championship. This right here is the Johnny Gargano I've been waiting to see. Let me take a drink of my water real quick before I get into this, because my throat is a little parched from all this talking. There we go. So, Johnny Gargano, in my opinion, at one point in time, from like 2016 to 2018, was absolutely untouchable. Like, he was, bar none, the best one of the best wrestlers in the world. I want to say the best, but Kenny Omega existed in 2017 and 2018 and 2019 as well. So, like, he was, bar none, one of the greatest wrestlers in, I would say, North America, because Kenny Omega was in Japan for part of that. So, he, in my opinion, was the greatest wrestler in North America from 2016 and 2018. He was having killer tag team matches with DIY, AOPP, and the Revival. Then he was on a singles run. He was having killer matches with Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black and this guy and that guy. And he finally got into that feud with Tommaso Ciampa we've been waiting for. And then they had the absolutely legendary match at NXT Takeover New Orleans, and they continued their feud, which honestly and truly I would have rather they have not just ended at New Orleans. Continue their feud, great matches out of that. Then you got into some more matches down the line in 2018, like Gargano, all leading up to Takeover New York, which, while I do not like the match, was still in many regards as one of the greatest matches in NXT history. Winning the NXT Championship, losing a title. Like, Johnny Gargano was that boy for, like, he carried NXT on his back for years. But I feel like really ever since, like, he turned heel, we haven't seen that same John, or at least really ever since after the Adam Cole feud, we haven't seen that Johnny Gargano. At least I haven't seen it. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen it. But this match right here is what Johnny Wrestling was always was. And Kushida was amazing, as he always is. And I haven't seen a great Kushida match since really New Japan. So in here, we had Kushida and Johnny Gargano doing their mat work in the very beginning, which is just tasty as always. Then Kushida's targeting the arm of Johnny Gargano, and Johnny's selling the hell out of it. Johnny's usually always the one on defense in these takeover matches. And we saw that in this match, but this time Johnny's the heel, so the dynamic is slightly, different. And I thought that it worked a lot more. But Kushida, it's so weird, because Kushida, he's not a heel, but I feel like he's not a complete babyface either. Like, wasn't Kushida a heel at one point in NXT? I'm pretty sure he was. So it's like the dynamic of the Kushida and Johnny in this match is so weird, because it's like there was really no set babyface in my opinion. But the way the match flowed was just so gratifying and so eye-catching, and all the limb targeting and Kushida it was so impressive seeing Kushida lock Johnny in these submissions, and Johnny would like stay in these submissions for so long that you would believe he's going to tap out, but he would just power through. It's not impressive, but it's not done very well by a lot of people. Like, the only time I could think of where I feel like this spot was done like exceptionally well in NXT was Shayna Baszler versus Ember Moon from NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. That's not a widely received great match, but whenever Shayna Baszler would lock Ember Moon in a submission in like an armbar, she would be locked in it for at least 30 to 1 minute at a time, and you would want Ember to get out of it. Like, come on, Ember, the rope's right there. And the crowd's like egging her on. But Shayna would roll her back into the center of the ring. You're like, no, come on, Ember, you can do it. Like, it reminded me of that, but it's like Johnny's a heel, so you're not rooting for Johnny, but you're like, Johnny, come on, like, what are you doing? Reach, you're Johnny Wrestling, something like that. And then he reached the rope, and then Kushida would find a way. Like, Kushida would consistently try to find ways to get him back into the submission, but Johnny would slither out of it each and every single time. And then he got on the ramp, and Johnny messed him up, hitting his final beat, his DDT onto the ramp. He got Kushida back into the ring, hit his one final beat into the ring, and pinned Kushida to retain the NXT North American Championship. This was an amazing match, in my opinion. I have not watched it back since the first playback, but when I do watch it back, I'm sure I'll love it even more. I don't think I would go 10 out of 10. It was not that amazing, but I would definitely go 9 out of 10. This is definitely a, you know what? 9.5. 9.5. Don't want to go 9.5. You know what? Fuck it. 9.5 out of 10. This match was definitely 9.5 out of 10. Amazing match. I'd recommend it to any wrestling fan who wants to see Johnny Gargano of old. Then we get into the next finals, the Dusty Rhodes Men's Tag Team Classic Finals. MSK, Nash Lee, and Wes Carter. Oh my god. Nash Lee and Wes Carter. How did I mix these names up? Wesley and Nash Carter of MSK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Drake, and Drake Gibson. I did it again. That one was on purpose, not gonna lie. Drake Gibson and Zach. What? I did. Okay, that time was on purpose. Botchamania. We're not cutting anything out. I had to go to work soon. Zach Gibson and James Drake. This was another really good match. A lot of people said this match was better than a women's match. I'm gonna beg to differ. I enjoyed the women's match a lot more. You know, if you want to say this match was better fundamentally and better in the ring, I'll give it to you. I just enjoyed the women's match slightly more than this one. Not a slight to them at all. I thought they had great chemistry. Grizzled Young Veterans were in the finals last year against Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, and I thought that was a great match as well. They killed it in here. MSK had a different dynamic from Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle. They were a lot more high-flying, and they were a little bit more, you know, cohesive because they've been in the ring with each other for so many years in Impact Wrestling. I don't like the fact that on commentary NXT, they pretend like these guys were nobody before NXT. What they do with everybody, they like to pretend that they make these stars, and it's like, you know, not really. These guys were stars before they came to NXT. You're basically just uplifting their careers, but that's the NXT quota. Pretend like you created them and make them, I guess. But I'll skip to the finish here because I don't want to go too deep into these matches. Carter and Lee end up hitting their spinebuster twisting neckbreaker combination onto James Drake to get the pin and win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Nash Carter was crying after the pin, which hit me hard because it's like, bro, I feel you, man. Let's go. Like, you know, I'm 23 years old. Whenever I see young people, you know, succeed, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. So seeing him, like, he didn't, like, you know, bawl his eyes out in the ring, but, you know, he was obviously, like, emotional after the match. Seeing them win, I was so happy for them. And MSK, they're very, very, very well protected. Like, they came into NXT, like, I think a month ago. Back in January, they came into NXT. They've been undefeated. They went into the tag team tournament, and then they won the whole thing. So, if anything, I'm almost certain they're not winning the tag titles. Because, now, if they win the tag titles, I wouldn't be shocked. But they have been very well pushed. Very well pushed. When they go to the main roster, I think they're done dizzy. So I'm hoping that this is an NXT Tag Team Championship they get lined up for, not the SmackDown or Raw, because if they do, RIP. But I'm happy for those guys. Then we get into the co-main event of the evening. Io Shirai versus Toni Storm versus Mercedes Martinez for the NXT Women's Championship. I enjoyed this match a lot as well. I thought this was the weakest match on the show, but I enjoyed it for what it was worth. All three women, you know, went out there and they did their thing. I think the most noteworthy spot of the match, which everyone will agree on, was the table spot. The lack thereof a table spot, at least. So, Toni Storm is setting up this table on the outside. The announce table, of course. Takes the top of it off, take apart the monitors, and she's setting up either Mercedes or maybe Io, somebody. But as the announcers are getting up, I think Vic Joseph gets up, and he knees the table. Like, I guess the pressure of his knee pushed the table up, and it triggered the table, and the table collapsed. Like, completely exposing a business, brother. Like, literally, the table collapsed. It looked like the table collapsed on its own. Tony set the table up, and then it fell apart. And it's like, nobody went through it. Nobody hit it, at least from the camera. Unless you paid attention, nobody hit it. Nobody went through it. The table just broke on its own. It's like, oh boy. Like, that was not supposed to happen. And it's like, if you're watching at home, you're like, oh, that was a part of the script. But, yeah, it was definitely a freak accident. I know, I saw some people online, you know, pissed at Vic Joseph, like, dude, what the fuck? And it's, bro, freak accident. You know, we all know wrestling is fake. It's not ruining the business. The business has been ruined already, bro. Calm down. Nothing to get mad about. I mean, if I'm Triple H, I'd be pretty mad. But if I'm a wrestling fan, bro, calm down. Calm down. We all know it's an accident. To my knowledge, it's the first time I've ever seen that happen. Like, I've never seen an announcer break the announce table by accident. It's an accident, human error. Calm the fuck down. So, Tony looked on, and she's kind of like, I was supposed to go through that. And then Io Shirai moonsaulted her from the top of the platform, like the metal steel platform. Got her back into the ring. They had some outings with each other. Toni Storm ended up hitting her, I think her Stormbreaker onto Mercedes Martinez went for the pin, but Io from the top rope moonsaults onto Toni Storm, who was doing the pin. Same thing she did to Rhea Ripley in their NXT Women's Championship match last year. She moonsaults onto Toni, then pins Mercedes, still in the pin by the way, pins Mercedes Martinez to get the pin and retain the NXT Women's Championship. Io Shirai retains. Io Shirai is about to go on a whole year as champion. We're in February right now. She won a title in June, so she's not too far out. She's 4 months away. She's 8 months into her reign. She's had quite a bit of defenses already. She's defended against Dakota. She's defended against Rhea. She's defended against Mercedes and Toni now. She's defended against Raquel, I believe, and maybe not. Has she defended against Raquel? I feel like she has, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, she's defended against the bigger names in NXT already. I know she defended against Candice. Like, run down the names for me. I feel like we've seen Io beat them already. So it's like, what's left for Io Shirai right now? I mean, I can look at the NXT roster. Like, out of curiosity, I don't know who will be set up for Io at TakeOver, the next TakeOver, or maybe at WrestleMania. Because because I would have said Raquel. Raquel is who they're building up, but Raquel's in the tag title picture now with Dakota, so it's not going to be Raquel. So let me look at the roster real quick. We're doing this live, by the way. We're doing it live. Fuck it. Aaliyah's not working. Aaliyah's we had Candice. Chelsea, is Chelsea even on NXT anymore? She's injured. We had Dakota. She lost. I don't know if they did Ember and Io yet. They could do Ember and Io. Indy's kind of like Candice's child, basically. I don't know if how they're gonna build that up. Jessamine Duke, I haven't seen her in a long time. Casey Catanzaro, yeah, not really. Kaden Carter hasn't been built up properly. Marina, no. Mercedes, they just had their match. Raquel, Rhea is still on NXT roster, even though she's not there. Tegan's still on the roster, so that's good. Shotzi, Toni, like the only, Xia Li. Xia Li could be next. I can see them building up Xia Li next. Xia Li, they've been building up on NXT television as the Stone Cold, basically invulnerable to pain type killer with her master or overlord, whatever the hell, kind of like guiding her. They're building her up slowly, but we're 2 months away from WrestleMania weekend. So if they wanted to do something where she attacks Io, I'm not mad at it. If they even wanted to put the title on Xia Li, I wouldn't be mad at that either. However, they don't have many other women to build up right now. So I would do Xia Li. If not Xia Li, then maybe Ember. But everybody else she's beaten already. And it's like, you can't run down she can't beat everybody, because then she has nobody left. She'll have nobody left if she beats everybody. So she's going to have to lose to either Xia Li or Ember. Ember's been NXT champion already, so she's not my ideal pick. Maybe Xia Li? Because I don't know. Casey, Kaden, Indy, they're all good, but they're not ready. They haven't been built up properly. So I think right now the only viable option for me is either Ember or Xia, and I think it might be Xia. If it's neither one of those women, I'm not mad, but it's like, who else is Io going to beat? Who else is Io going to face is really the question that she hasn't beaten already. Because NXT isn't really known for doing rematches all too often. They do it every once in a while, but they don't do rematches all too often. So I don't know who else to go back to if Io beats them. So we'll see in due time. But we head on to the main event of the evening. Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship. This was another amazing match. Finn Balor TakeOver main events have been quite the piece of NXT. We saw his match with Kyle O'Reilly at NXT TakeOver 31. It was an outstanding match, one of my favorite matches of the entire year. Just the way it was like, it was very British catch can heavy, mixed in with strong style, mixed in with that all Japan Noah's Ark Road style. It's a mixture of Japan and British wrestling. And that's what I love about Finn Balor in these matches. I mean, he went in here with Pete Dunne, and they had the similar match they had with Kyle O'Reilly. I would say I like the match with Kyle O'Reilly just slightly more than this one. But Pete Dunne in here as the heel, because Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor, I think Balor was really the tweener, and then Kyle O'Reilly was technically the heel. But Pete Dunne was really like the dead-on heel in this match, snapping the fingers of Finn Balor. He was definitely versed with him in that style. and it worked very well. Not that it didn't work with Kyle O'Reilly, because it worked even more in my opinion. But I don't know how to explain it without giving away the match. I'm trying to get better at explaining things without giving away the match, so that way if you guys want to watch it, you can. I'll just say this. I thought it was an amazing match. It is very much similar to O'Reilly and Finn Balor. So if you did not like that match, you won't like this one too much. But it was slow build, and I enjoyed it. The match came to an end when Balor got Pete Dunne down, hit the coup de grace, and then followed it up with the 1916 and got the pin. Finn Balor retaining the NXT Championship, which is fine. I didn't expect Pete Dunne to win the title off of him, which I wouldn't have been mad if he did, but I didn't expect it. Who's next for Finn Balor is a good question as well. Off the top of my head, I want to say Karrion Kross is next for Finn Balor, but Karrion Kross looks like he's going after Santos Escobar, which makes no sense to me because Santos Escobar is a cruiserweight champion and fucking Karrion Kross is not a cruiserweight. But I digress. After the match is over, you bring out Danny Burch and Tony Lurkin. They beat Dunn. They beat down Finn Balor, which credit to NXT. Because I half expected them to come out during the match and try to interfere and try to help out Pete Dunne, which would have ruined the flow of the match, but they didn't. So that was great. They waited until after the match. They came out, they beat down Finn Balor. Pete Dunne tries to get up and attack, but he's like all badly bruised and whatnot. He barely is standing on his own 2 feet. Undisputed Era comes out. Still no Bobby Fish. I think he's injured again. But we get out Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly. They fend off Pete Dunne, Oni Lorcan, and Danny Burch. I don't even know what their names are. I forgot what the team name is. The Pat McAfee's boys are their names. But they fight him off, and they help up Finn Balor to his feet. What Kyle O'Reilly does. It's almost like they, they mended their ways. They're kind of like, they're okay. They're not friends, but they're okay with each other. There's a found respect for one another. And they pose. At least Undisputed Era does their pose. Finn Balor does his little gun thing. The logo's up in the corner. I almost now know whenever I see the logo, something's going to happen. But Adam Cole super kicks Finn Balor in the face. The crowd's like, ah! And they're like booing. They're booing Adam Cole. And Adam Cole's a heel now, which fine by me because Adam Cole's a face was just kind of odd. I think Adam Cole's definitely a heel for life in my opinion. Super kicks Finn Balor. And Kyle O'Reilly's like, dude, what the hell's your problem? What are you doing? And they're arguing. Roderick Strong's trying to break it up. He backs, he doesn't back him into court, but he kind of gets Adam Cole towards the ropes, kind of get him to exit the ring. O'Reilly's trying to help up Finn Balor, check on him, and Adam Cole super kicks Kyle O'Reilly as well, which I'm like, oh my god. Not Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly as well. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's turning him at Undisputed Era. And he's kind of like trying to tell Roderick Strong to come on because he's walking to the back, but Roderick Strong is just kind of standing there conflicted, like, do I walk with Adam Cole or do I help up O'Reilly? And Roderick Strong's kind of torn between the middle. He's like the child in between his parents arguing. Oh man, it's interesting. NXT is actually doing some interesting stuff again. Like stuff like this, pay-per-views like this is what would get me to possibly watch NXT again. So kudos to NXT. They earned my viewership this week. I talk shit about WWE. Not that I like to. I don't get a fucking rub off of talking shit about WWE. I only do it because they're a shitty product. I criticize them a lot. I criticize NXT a lot. But when they do good, I am going to say that they do good. And I thought this was a tremendous show. I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. It's really extremely hard to get a 10 out of 10 on the show. But 9 out of 10, which is extremely good. I would easily recommend it to anybody, NXT WWE fan or not. I recommend this show. And they earned my viewership this week. I will tune into NXT. I don't know about during the AEW live stream, but I will definitely watch it on Thursday and see what they do. So kudos to them. Hopefully the follow-up is just as good. If they could follow up and keep the shows coming, I'll keep coming back. But we will see in due time. We did see KENTA on AEW Dynamite this week. He battled in the main event, himself and Kenny Omega versus Lance Archer and Jon Moxley. I thought it was a good match. People I think people loved the fact that KENTA was on Dynamite so much that in their head they thought this was one of the best matches in AEW history. It wasn't. Calm down. But it was a good match. Wasn't even the best brawl I've seen in AEW history. I thought that the Young Bucks versus Butcher and Blade was better. But, they went backstage, and I do love when they go backstage. They went backstage. They were doing their thing. I try my best not to spoil matches for you guys. So please understand that if I'm not talking too in depth about what's happening. That's why. But one of the best spots in the match, I will say, was when Jon Moxley was on a table. Kenta was on a ramp. Kenta runs and does a leaping. He does the leaping. What's it called? Foot stomp onto Jon Moxley, and the table doesn't break, so he just catches all of Moxley. It was pretty cool. They had a ladder, they had chairs, they had trash can lids. It was a pretty dope match. I ain't gonna sit here and act like the match wasn't entertaining, because it was an entertaining match, but it just wasn't as much as people were praising it to be. But the end did come when the Good Brothers came out, which annoyed the shit out of me. But the Good Brothers, because it would have been fine without them. Good Brothers come out to try and help. Jon Moxley and Kenta fend them off the best they can, but not Kenta. Jon Moxley and Archer fend them off the best they can, but to no avail. They end up beating down Archer. They help get Archer up on Omega's shoulders, because obviously Archer's a big boy. He gets Archer up for the Woman Angel. He hits it and gets the pin. Kenny Omega and Kenta winning this match. Kenny Omega pin Lance Archer, so I mean, I don't think he's next in line at this point. I mean, because he just got pinned. Because I thought for a second they were hitting towards a Moxley Archer match, maybe before or after Evolution. But since Archer got pinned, I think that's a done dizzy. So I still think we're probably going to get Moxley and Omega rematch at Revolution, because it's right around the corner. He might as well do it. After the match, we saw them stand tall, and that was the end of the show. But that was not really the big news. The big news was the match itself. But the bigger news was on Impact No Surrender. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't watch Impact No Surrender. I don't care about Impact Wrestling. But something big happened at the very end of the show. The show ends, and we see a vignette. A vignette featuring New Japan Pro Wrestling's Juice Robinson and David Finlay. The former World Tag League winners were featured on this vignette. We saw the New Japan Pro Wrestling logo. We saw clips of their matches from New Japan. And we saw that they are heading to Impact Wrestling soon. With the logo and the clips, it is very obvious to me that New Japan Impact Wrestling are now back on the same page. And this has been something fans have been wondering about for years now, because ever since Okada went on an excursion to Impact Wrestling and they did him dirty, it was almost like the relationship kind of got ruined after that point. But it seems like now Impact and New Japan are working together again. And that's great for Impact. I mean, New Japan really doesn't benefit too much from it. But it's great for Impact, because now Impact is now working with New Japan and AEW. It's almost like a triangle. A triángulo de la muerte. It's a triangle of wrestling companies working together. Impact, New Japan, AEW, all under the same roof. You want to throw in NWA working with AEW. AEW's working with 3 companies. You want to throw in AAA because they also had Laredo Kid on at one point. Throw in AAA. New AEW is just almost making this, dare I say, conglomerate, almost making this faction of companies. And I feel like we're building up to something. We got to be building up to some super show. Because, you know, the partnership is great. I love seeing these companies work together. I love seeing these wrestlers go, you know, company to company and, you know, seeing what they can do as far as the storylines and matches. I love that aspect. But if they're going to work together and they want to stick it to WWE, doing a super show at some point, I mean, I'm just saying, Madison Square Garden show in August with New Japan, if they really wanted to, you know, do a super show there, that would be a place to do it. But I don't know. I mean, that's a New Japan show. I don't know if they would want to do that, but that would be an ideal place to do it. We'll see how long this partnership goes on for. But I think ROH, New Japan, AEW, Impact, NWA, 5 companies. You want to throw AAA in there, 6 companies. They trademarked the term Battle of the Belts. So that's already something to get hyped about. If we get those 6 companies under one roof to do one super show, I would fly out. Like, ain't gonna lie, COVID restrictions, I went to Puerto Rico, I stayed safe the entire time, I'd fly out. Now, I don't know about going to the fucking show, but I'd fly out to fucking see that shit. Well, I guess I'd be going to the show at that point. Like, that's the history making show right there. That's something I want to be a part of. I don't know if I want to get COVID, but that excites me thinking about it. It excites me. I am thoroughly amped about this, but I don't want to get too deep into this because I want to keep this show just at 1 hour. So we'll talk more about it in the next episode. But that being said, New Japan Pro Wrestling just announced their Castle Attack card, and they have 2 nights of it. They have the Road 2 show coming up. But I was going to preview both cards. I figured to keep this, get some content for next week, I'll only preview one card. I'll only preview night 1. So, night 1 of Castle Attack will be happening on February the 27th, which is a day after Jon Moxley versus Kenta happens on NJPW Strong. I'll preview that card right here. So, first match we have on this card is the team of Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiroshi Tenzan, and Satoshi Kojima versus the Great Okan, Jeff Cobb, and Will Ospreay. So the United Empire are in a 6-man tag team match, which I don't even think I see them in 6-man tag team matches that often, so good. They're going up against Tanahashi, Tenzan, and Kojima, which makes sense because Okan is feuding with Tanahashi, and Tenzan and Kojima are feuding with Cobb and Ospreay. The United Kingdom should be winning this match. No doubt, no diggity. They need to keep winning going into the New Japan Cup. Because if all 3 men go into the Cup, I believe they should make it at least to the quarterfinals. Maybe the second round. I think Ospreay is definitely a good pick to win the entire thing. If you're trying to have betting odds on something, I think Ospreay winning it is definitely a good bet to have. And that's a good way to build up to it, is to have him keep on going. So United Empire wins this match. Yoshihashi versus Tongaloa. Singles match in here. They're obviously building up to a tag team match on night 2, which I'll preview on next week's episode. Tongaloa is not in many singles matches, so it's going to be interesting what he could do here against Yoshihashi. Yoshihashi had a really good G1 climax last year and the year before that, so I'm expecting this to be a really good match, maybe even a sleeper of the night. Sleeper of the night, keep your eye on this match. I'm going to go with Yoshihashi to win. Yoshihashi's going to win. Then we get into the next one. There's 5 singles matches on the show, so kudos to them. Hiroki Goto versus Tom Otong. Now, Tom Otong and Hiroki Goto have had 5 singles matches in their career. And the record right now is 5-0 in favor of Goto. Goto, obviously, a master. He is I don't want to say a legend. I mean, he's not there yet. He's obviously a veteran in this match against Tom Otong. Tom Otong has been in wrestling for quite a long time, but not as long as Goto. Who wins? Obviously, it should be Tom Otong. Tom Otong lost 5 times. If they really want to build up to that tag team match on next night, and if I believe Tongaloa is losing, I wouldn't have Tom Otong lose as well. So I would have Tom Otong beat Hiroki Goto, finally get that win over him, and that would set up the tag team match on the next night. But then we get into our next match. Toru Yano versus Chase Owens for the KOPW 2020 trophy. Now, I don't give a flying fuck about this trophy, but I'll propose to you guys the rules. Because obviously with this trophy, both opponents propose rules for the match and the fans vote on it on Twitter. So Yano proposes a YTR Styles Texas strap match. So basically a Toru Yano style Texas strap match where there's no rope, there's no turnbuckles, and just a strap attached to their hands. And then Owens' rules are a traditional Texas strap match where I believe they have their hands tied to each other with the strap and they have to touch all 4 corners or something like that. No, that's a bull rope match, whatever it's called. No, this is a strap match, so yeah. I mean, either way, it's still the same match. It's just one has no turnbuckle pads. Who cares, is my opinion. That's what I think about it. Toru Yano wins. Toru Yano is to this what R-Truth is to the 24/7 championship. I say no more about that. Then we get into the co-main event of the evening. Jay White versus Tomohiro Ishii. I am a firm believer that this is an unnecessary feud to have. Jay White came back from his leave of absence and went straight into a feud with Ishii for what reason exactly? Why? He should have went straight after Ibushi. He should have went straight after somebody against Ishii. Somebody who almost is ineffective in why he lost. Doesn't make sense to me. but I guess they want to give him something to do going to the Cup, so I'll bite. They could have did this at the Cup, but I'll bite. I'll go with Jay White to win. The score is 2-0 in favor of Ishii. Jay White is due back for. If Jay White loses to Ishii, then I don't know what they're doing to Jay White. Jay White already lost in the tag team match at New Beginning Hiroshima, which I did a review of on this channel. Check it out. I don't see why Jay White will lose again. So I'm going with Jay White to win this match. And then the main event of the evening, Kazuchika Okada versus Evil. Okada has been in the news lately. He is rumored to be heading to AEW very soon, as reported by Dave Meltzer. I'll talk about that a bit next week. But in this match against Evil, they've had 6 matches. Okada has won 4 of them. Evil's won 2. The last being their match at the New Japan Cup 2020, where Evil turned heel, stomping him in the dick, and truly turned heel after turning on Naito after the match. I don't care about this match. The last match they had was absolute garbage. Okada had one good match in an entire calendar year, and that was against Shingo Takagi. I guess the second one will be against Will Ospreay. Will this be his next one? Likely not, because it's still Evil Bullet Club, and Evil Bullet Club is incapable of having good matches. So I wholly expect this match will probably suck ass. But I'm going to go with Okada to win this match, because we're going into New Japan Cup. Okada needs to look beastly going into. We got to tease Okada going to the finals again. That'd be, I think, Okada's second or third finals. New Japan Cup. He won 2015. I don't know if he was in the finals of 2016, or did he win 2016? He won 2015. He was in the finals of 2016. I think it was Tanahashi and ZSJ in the finals of 2018, and then he was in the finals of 2019 and won the whole thing. And then he was in the finals of 2020. He's been in the finals of at least 3 or 4 of these New Japan Cups. They're going to tease it, and I feel like him winning this match will probably end up being where we get, that hint at it. So I'm going to go with Okada to beat Evil here. And that is Chill Spill Podcast episode 34. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you guys always, and I will see you all next time. Peace.